It's very interesting though. Like
Rev.
yeah, just the whole everything we were just talking about. Um, making this just made me completely self-diagnose myself with everything, like apathy stuff.
And remember, all of this, every last bit of this is on a spectrum. Because when you look at, all right, so we're on body dysmorphic disorder.
Yeah.
Hey, do you often check yourself in a mirror? But then again, that's where the time frame comes into play. Mm-hmm. How often, the severity. Hey, do I have a drinking problem? Even in college, someone would be like, well, all of them would be diagnosed with the drinking disorder. But even in college, like, well, I know for myself specifically, I went to like at Rutgers the $2 Tuesdays. I didn't really do the Thursdays as much, but I did the $2 Tuesdays with my Rutgers friends, and I would go out on the Fridays and Saturdays. But even the amount that I would drink, I would be like, all right, this is my limit. I'm good. Like, I'm not trying to blah type.
Yeah.
So when you factor it in, you know, you'll see that it's much more, why are you drinking? Is it strictly social? Or was it, I'm doing this to escape something?
Yeah.
So, you know.
So body dysmorphic disorder is when someone is preoccupied with what they believe to be a physical flaw with their body, even though it may not be observable or is something minor to other people. In their own mind, it is the most important factor. There is an issue with how the person views their body, which is in a morphed way from the reality or of the situation. Here are some ways that body dysmorphia can manifest in an individual with this disorder, and it's someone that is consistently preoccupied with an aspect of their body. Checking themselves out in the mirror, excessively grooming, seeking reassurance or validation from others, always comparing themselves to others. It's like a lot of people that I know.
Yeah, and
I swear that's what, like a lot of people that I know.
The biggest one with this is again like morphed, where it's not anorexia specifically for that, but like you know, someone like
that's another heavy like set. Just reading through it, I was just like, oh my god. Yeah. I'm glad I've never dealt with that.
And some of them can be because of the more so like the person. Some of these diagnoses can happen depending on the type of childhood. So, for example, think about, there was one client when I was at the outpatient facility. Her mother in particular compared the siblings a lot, and it made her feel some type of way. Oh no, this one I was doing contracting work at the residential facility. Her, she was very smart. The client that is, she was very, very smart to the point where she got like, I think she said like top like, it was like top 3 in her like school for high school and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But her mother would compare her and her older sister a lot. Her older sister got like number 1. So and she felt some type of way towards her sister because of that. So imagine like you now have this, you look at your sibling a certain type of way because mom compares you, and it's like you're really good again. You're top 3, 5, whatever in your school.
But it means nothing because you're being compared to that.
And your sister's number 1, so it's constantly like, you know. And comparison is healthy because even if you are number 1 in anything, you're naturally going to look like who's number 2.
Competition is healthy. It's the key factor of evolution is competition.
Yep.
And not everybody sees it that way, unfortunately.
And that really does with the upbringing, because I've seen in a very, do you know, what is it called? Undisputed with Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless?
Yeah, of course.
Shannon Sharpe, the way he talks about his older brother, and people will say that Shannon Sharpe is better as a football player than his older brother, and I'm going to generally say he is, but he adores his older brother. And even on it, I didn't even notice, on his Shannon Sharpe's acceptance into the Hall of Fame, the most selfless thing he did, like he was thanking everyone, and then for half of his speech, he bigged up. He was like, but I wasn't better than my older brother, because his older brother didn't get into the Hall of Fame, and because it's like a ballot. Anyway, he had so much love and respect for his older brother, where it's like, that's the type of healthiness, sibling rivalry you know, that you want.
Yeah.
Or not even rivalry, but like
no, sibling
admiration.
rivalry, yeah. Well, it's both of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I even think with my older brother, like my mom did a lot of comparison, and it annoyed me so much. Like he's the older brother, and I'm talking about my older brother Blake. Like,
Do you think that there's a fine line between like the comparison where it healthy and toxic?
well, yeah, absolutely. Like, because the way my
I feel
mom,
like that's like a razor sharp margin.
to me, it doesn't have to be if the parent is parenting correctly. Because with my older brother Blake, 3 years older than me, and how I viewed my older brother, it was like that adornment. Like, wow, he's my older brother. Like he was, no lie, I viewed him how I kind of perceived Chris Brown, where it was just like light skinned, pretty boy, got all the girls, he could fight, he just a cool dude, never let anything go to his head, was good at video games. But the way our mom, like she should, and there's a whole background story and everything, but a lot of favoritism towards him, everything. And sometimes when
Is he the oldest though?
not the oldest. We have an older sister, but he was the oldest boy though.
Well,
And long story short, like we're all like good now, like even with my mom and I, stuff like that. But it was an odd dynamic because even with my older brother, like we're brothers, we would fight at times and you know be annoying. I noticed like I had this like appreciation for him because I'm like, oh, my older brother's cool type of thing. But then when I was thinking in context with like with mom and stuff like that, I felt additional type of way towards him. And then like when him and I would get into arguments about sibling stuff, I would also feel like an additional layer of towards him because of the mom dynamic.
and again, being an only child, I've only heard about that, but that's how it's always explained to me.
And the thing is, when it's the like more so what the client was speaking to, where it's like I never looked at any of my, and I have a younger brother too, I never looked at any of my brothers like I gotta, like, I hate you, I gotta destroy you type of thing. It was never like that. It was always like, wow, that's my older brother, or man, this is my, I don't have children, but having a little brother, it's the closest thing I think someone like a brother or a guy could experience having like a son.
I get that.
Where it's like, oh, this is my little brother. Could it be annoying sometimes? Absolutely. Could he be just like, oh, you're such a, like, you're so annoying, you're so, but at the same time, it's like, you're my little brother. Like, I really think it's the closest thing to, like, having a son when you don't have a son.
I get that.
But yeah, but when it's really toxic, where it's like, yeah. But yeah, we're all good stuff.
I almost had a adopted sister, and unfortunately, the family that was fostering her didn't want to adopt to us. And we think it was because they wanted the benefits from keeping her in the house.
Yeah.
And she was treated horribly, too.
Well, even when you think about that system of the people that do that, real, like, you know how much it takes to, like, raise children and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
Just from a bird's eye view, and there's a reason why people do that, but from a bird's eye view, like, wait a second. Man and woman, you guys, this couple, you guys have, I'll be nice, you have average jobs and you're adopting like 7 kids? Really? What type of life are you trying? Well, we're just nice people.
Yep.
And then it's all the BS. Then of course you get the money. It's like, come on. 7?
I was
not 7.
I was
just 4
I was
or
young
5.
I was young when it happened, but recently when I heard the story, like when they met her and like we were going through the process, she had like nothing. They like, you know, very few gifts or stuff of her own. Room was bare when like we first met and everything. And like I would have had a sister halfway through my life at that point, like given that worked out. But interesting how things work out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But closest I ever came to it.
I will say, it's definitely an experience, but I don't know, like it, because it really depends on like the type of like upbringing and stuff like that. Because again, like I've seen when it's like healthy, not on the healthy side, when it's on the real toxic side, and then when it's just, because it really just comes down to the parenting. Like it really does.
Yeah, I get it.
Because
I don't know. I feel like being an only child has soiled me in some ways.
I mean, because you have your own experience, of course, but only child syndrome is a thing, and naturally, like, did you ever feel lonely?
Oh yeah. I mean, beyond that, like just being spoiled my whole life probably has not helped me out the most.
Yeah, and it's not that. So again, even with my mentor, like he does it in a very healthy way for his child, but again, like it has to be done anything can be done if it's being done correctly, right? And when you talk, so it's like, for example, for our only child, they naturally don't have a peer to, like, yeah, they go to school and everything like that, but outside of this whole school thing, they naturally don't practice those type of skills in that setting, because in school you're following rules.
I always used to talk to adults. That was my thing.
But and then even think about,
not in the unhealthy way though.
No. Like, oh, your peers. Huh? But even then, where like think about that dynamic where it's like pros and cons. Pros, you're very mature for your age.
Yeah.
You think differently. Cons, why am I around immature people? What do you mean? You're in middle school, you're in high school, you're supposed to, and not that, you know what I mean, like, but it creates that, like,
that's definitely how I was my entire life.
It again, like the pros and cons, because yeah, it just creates a certain dynamic whereas like you feel out of place, but then it's like, well, technically you're in place, but then it has its pros, but then there's a way you got to go about it, and then
I totally get it. Gotta love it. So
hoarding. That's always a fun one.
Oh yeah, I'm not even gonna start on this subject. I know about it too well.
My grandma's, I mean, and this is a common too. My grandma, like, she's a hoarder. Of course, that show Hoarders, like we've seen it on the extreme. And again, that's why all of this is on a spectrum. Like, Hoarder TV show, that's the extreme, because, for example, like, this isn't like, you know, hoarding, whatever, but like, you know, people can't walk in the house.
Oh, no,
no. You know, but
I
my
always
grandma's
think of
definitely
that
a hoarder.
extreme.
Oh, actually, my friend's mom as well, massive hoarder. Again, you can still navigate the home.
I know, I definitely know people that it's just like, why are you saving this? You know, like, and that's a nice way to say it. But hoarding, in terms of psychiatry, is when someone struggles to get rid of things because they believe they need to save those items and feel anxious about letting them go. As a result, their living space often becomes a big clutter of a mess. Outward parties often need to intervene because the hoarding gets too out of control. There's an issue with what the person perceives as valuable and how they're stocking or storing it. This can even include trash.
Yep.
That's crazy. And I know people that, like, yeah, I totally get it. Ray's notes, this is different from collecting. A collector is specific about what they buy and compartment. I was about to say that looks super low, but compartmentalized it effectively. The things that they collect usually have some type of intrinsic value. Their storage environments are neat and organized.
Yep. So that is, what's the difference between like any collector, like a genuine collector, you'll see like it's neat, it's organized. They know where things are. It's, you know, a shelf, like whatever it is. It's just Pokemon cards, shoes. It's organized. It's not like, you know, even if it is like an egregious amount, it's still organized.
This is all of the weird. Now we get into all the weird disorders.
Trichomania. Yeah.
Trichotomania.
Trichomania. Is it tri?
Trichotillomania. Trichotillomania.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Like, trichotillomania is when someone continues to pull out their hair, which causes hair loss. They continue to do it despite many attempts to stop.
That's literally the whole... All right, ready?
Ugh.
Trichotillomania.
Trichotillomania.
Oh my god. All right. Excoriation disease? I think I said that. Excoriation disease. Skin
I think
picking
that's right.
disorder.
Excoriation.
Oh yeah, or that makes more sense. Excoriation. No, excoriation.
All right, let's see. Oops.
Excoriation for sure.
Excoriation.
Yeah.
Excoriation. Excoriation.
Excoriation is when someone continues to pick at their skin, which causes skin lesions. They continue to do it despite many attempts to stop. Yeah, definitely. Beyond, there's worse disorders that that came up that I didn't like finding out about. Trauma and stressor related ones. We haven't even gotten into it yet, so we'll get to it. But reactive attachment disorder is when the child is emotionally withdrawn towards their caregiver. They could care less about showing affection towards them. This is the opposite of what some people would call a mama's boy or a daddy's girl. In short, the child struggles to attach, which should be forming the emotional bond to their caregiver. A child may experience this due to drop that down. Damn. Really? No, do that then. A pattern of negligent caregivers, or a pattern of neglect from caregivers. A foster child who has had many different caregivers, so they struggle to form solid attachments to caregivers. As a result, their other relationships suffer as well over time. Their child doesn't really seek comfort or respond to comfort by their caregivers. The child could be irritable, sad, tearful, and not really socialize with others. I'm just going to take out not really. And not interact with social. Timeline. This may occur before the age of 5. Correct?
This is reactive. Do you bring up my notes on that one? Reactive attachment disorder.
Let me see if I can find them.
Yeah, scroll down. Yeah. Reactive. The signs are shown before the age of 5, yeah.
Gotcha. Disinhibited social engagement disorder. Properly cited. Disinhibited social engagement disorder is when a child actively goes up to and interacts with adults who are complete strangers to them. They may even show excitement about it. The child doesn't feel the natural urge to protect themselves and check in with their caregiver. An example of a child checking in would be when someone new interacts with a child for the first time, and the child looks at their mother or father to see how they're responding to this new face they are talking or interacting with, to see if it's safe to interact with this person. In many cases, children may start to cry when a new person tries to interact with them, or they see their parent or guardian get worried from a distance. To put simply, they do not understand external danger.
Yep.
Is there a time frame for this?
And which one? This was the disinhibit. I don't believe. Can you scroll down?
There's if there's anything, my bad.
I think it's the childhood.
Some of them just didn't have a time frame, so that's one thing that I was going to point out to you.
Yep. That's that's one does.
Should we just look it up?
I don't, because I know when I was doing this, some of them don't have a time frame.
All right, then we'll just leave it.
But let me just this was disinhibited, right?
Yeah.
Just scroll up a little bit. Just want to see the full if it social engagement. frame. It says during the first 2 years of life, but
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, you get it says first 2 years of life, but I want to recheck that DSM. So I'm gonna have a note for that. Because even on the exam, they're not. That's
It's cool. I would imagine that some of these might not have a time frame just because it's obvious that this one is in like child, toddler based one, you know?
yeah, top comment. I always comment and have my feedback wall, but I'm gonna double check that one. I try to customize the messages I send to them, but I realize there's only so much I can say.
Yeah, for sure.
But I always
It's not-
say their name though. So this is what I do every time. I always screenshot it. Go to the thing. Oh, they shifted it around. Okay. Yeah, so I gotta use that. Another person that told me that they passed and everything like that. So I always do like boom, excellent. The other one. And then I post. Oops. Bless you. What is this? It's the.
Awesome.
Then, I do my thingamabob. I'm gonna post this one first. Ooh, the background. Instead of doing them like straight like that I normally do, I'm trying to add a little dimension in there. Gets it done. Like that. I guess fun stuff. Is it GETS or should it be a GT?
Or Tribe Gets It.
Like this? Or no, just GETS?
No, just GETS. Yeah, you, come here. All right, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD is when someone relives traumatic past events after they happen. This may happen when they experience something personally or learn about something related to death, a serious injury, a serious threat, or sexual violence. There's an internal issue with how the person is interpreting the stress about the traumatic event after the event is over.
Yep.
Individuals who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, typically experience a reliving of the events through flashback, intrusive memories. They have a tendency of avoiding places and people or isolating. Memory loss, negative look on people and or the world around them. Startle response, they jump when they hear a loud sound. Nightmares, sometimes reoccurring and based around the traumatic event. Being in the triggered environment or something that reminds them about the traumatic event.
Mm-hmm.
People who have experienced a loss or traumatic event can start to experience symptoms of anxiety and or depression around the anniversary of the event. Providing the psychoeducation about the client can be helpful if they are unaware of why they're experiencing these symptoms. Someone with PTSD could also experience dissociative symptoms. This disorder used to be called multiple personality disorder. Dissociative symptoms include someone who has two or more distant personalities. Those different personalities could have their own name, personal history, characteristics, and other traits. This is usually caused by a traumatic event as a way to help a person avoid bad memories. The person could also have gaps in their memories of their own personal information and even with the traumatic event itself. We talk about depersonalization is when you feel detached from your mental and or body.
Yep.
As if you were observing yourself from a third person perspective. It could feel like you were in a dream or moving slowly. Hence, the person is having an out-of-body experience. They are detached. If someone is detached, it's no longer personal. In this context, they're no longer personal with themselves. There's also derealization, where a person feels like the world around them is unreal, dreamlike, distant, or distorted. SSRIs are the classification of drugs known to treat this disorder. A few examples of an SSRI would be Zoloft, sertraline, also used to treat premenstrual dysmorphic disorder, PMDD, panic disorder, and social anxiety disorder, as well as Paxil, paroxetine. Therapies used to treat PTSD in a clinical setting include cognitive behavioral therapy, also called CBT, exposure therapy, eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing, EMDR, and you also have your video on it that you can pop up.
Breaking down acute stress disorder versus post-traumatic stress disorder. So, and I did the thing. So these are only 2 videos on my thing, because I looked at other programs and it's usually like a bunch of like junk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so my stories, post to people, I always do that. And then, I have the feedback of when I do it of the videos, like right here, I just take little segments, and then link the full video, if they want to see it. But then just all of them. And then I was like, that's getting kind of boring. So it's always the mix of the videos of them giving their feedback, and then like the comments that's just screenshotted. I'm like, that's getting kind of boring. So I was like, let's
that's why I'm saying let's start doing live interviews and then clipping
doing
out
that.
stuff for and
else.
stuff like that.
And then again, the link to all the videos.
You should make more clips of live content.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't, because I was using that program. But yeah.
So acute distress disorder. To put simply, this is the preface to PTSD, and then it just has C PTSD. You can click on that. It goes back up to. Why did it just go to kleptomania?
Or actually, even though that's correct, the preface, can we use a different wording?
Yeah.
This is the this is what that was acute, right?
Yes.
Yeah. This is this is the like the PTSD, like I had it before, like this is the PTSD before PTSD. Or this is what turns into
PTSD.
Yeah, if it continues.
Here.
This is what turns into PTSD if it continues. There's some on Bumble. I'm pretty sure it's a catfish, but I'm trying to like capture them. Like this person said, I will be drinking this evening, and typically when I drink, I enjoy taking videos of myself in very tight dresses.
Oh, no.
Men with nice faces.
No. Stay away.
Look, I even said, to this person, I said, how can we verify each other? You want me to send a video or something, LOL? And I said, sure. He said, okay, hold on. I said, okay, how do you send videos on Bumble? And I was like, oh, you click this, and then you sent this video. And I was like, okay. I said, fuck it. And he said, oh, I got it. I was like, you're in Lawrence. It's like, yeah. Another one. And then I was like, and you're applying. I'm like, okay. Bless you.
You gotta stay away from that one.
Yeah. Bless you.
And your video. So adjustment disorder. Individuals dealing with adjustment disorder are usually having a difficult time adjusting to a life stressor, which is impacting how they function in areas of their life. This can reflect in their home life, work life, or home life, work, home. I don't like how any of that sounds. Give me 1 second. It works. Don't get me wrong. Just I don't like how it sounds. This can reflect in their
impacting their life. well, yeah, function in areas of their life, because that's really what it is.
This
Regarding
can
their
impact areas of their life, such as home, work, school,
well, even
school, and social life.
such as, how about if you see this sentence above? See at the top one, it says individuals dealing with adjustment disorders are usually having a difficult time adjusting to a life stressor, which is impacting how they function in areas regarding their.
I have
Such
something
as-
which is impacting a specific area or areas of their life. Area.
Yeah, because it could include like literally anything that would be deemed a life stressor. So a life stressor could be anything. It could be something regarding work, school, moving to another state, a birth of a child. Like it literally could be anything that's significant enough.
These can include their home life, work, school, and social circles. Basically, any other social construct that you can. Or no, I'm just going to take that out completely. And social circles. They might feel really anxious, depressed, or both. Also, the symptoms don't meet the criteria for other mental health disorders, meaning the person, meaning the person could feel anxious about the life stressor, but it's not full-blown generalized anxiety disorder. They could also feel depressed about it, but it's not full-blown major depressive disorder. Life stressors can be anything that stresses the individual out in life, such as a loss of a loved one, financial issues, change in job, ending a relationship, getting married, having a baby, managing an illness, anything you can think of.
Yep.
Why is a page break here? Time frame is when the life stressor happens, symptoms begin within 3 months. When the life stressor is over, the symptoms may still be there, but typically don't last longer than 6 months.
What did I put for here for adjustment? Time frame. When the life stressor happens, symptoms begin within 3 months. When the life stressor is over, the symptoms may still be there, but not longer than 6 months. Yeah.
Dissociative disorder.
Oh, so when you say typically, go back up where it says but no, time frame. So instead of that, the symptoms, when the life stressor is over, so specify that when the life stressor is over, the symptoms, when the life stressor happens, symptoms begin within 3 months. When the life stressor is over, the symptoms may still be there, but the
But typically don't last longer than 6 months.
Well, not even typically, because it's no longer
But don't last longer than 6 months.
Because so like there's no gray area where it's like, oh, it could be, just like how like schizophrenia or those other disorders that say, oh, it 6 months is the criteria, but it could be 7 months, 8 months, and honestly it usually is. But
Gotcha. Dissociative disorder. This order used to be called multiple personality disorder. This is when someone has 2 or more distinct personalities. Those different personalities could have their own names, personal histories, characteristics, and other specific traits. This is usually caused by a traumatic event as a way to help a person avoid bad memories. This person could also have gaps in their memory of their own personal information and even with the traumatic event itself. No, you're good.
Hello? Yes. I'm doing well, but I'm pretty good with my insurance. All right, no problem. Thank you. I always answer some of these calls because it could be other numbers for like grandparents and stuff like that. All right, let's go to like let's say we make it to 60, and then I have to head back because I have a client at 5, and I have to do some stuff preparing for them.
Bet.
Go back up. Which one was this? Go back up.
That was dissociative disorder.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So somatic symptom and related disorders. Semantic symptom disorder. Semantic means relating to the body.
You can show this one now. Was this go to the semantics down. Could you put semantic? Was it called semantic? No.
Somatic.
Scroll back up.
Somatic.
Semantics.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bet. Somatic symptom disorder relating to the body, especially as somatic means relating to the body, especially as distant from the mind. Someone who might fall into having somatic symptom disorder would be focused on their health concerns, such as physical symptoms, pain, weakness, shortness of breath, so much that it impacts their day-to-day life negatively. This is because they feel so anxious about it that it takes complete control over their actions. Time frame more than 6 months. Illness anxiety disorder, properly cited. Someone suffering from illness anxiety disorder is preoccupied and anxious about having a serious illness. They constantly check on their body for signs of illness, but avoid going to the doctor. But they avoid going to doctor appointments. Yeah, that works. Time frame: the person is preoccupied about having an illness for 6 months or longer. Conversion disorder, functional neurological symptom disorder. A person who suffers from conversion disorder and they is experiencing stressful emotions or trauma. They can experience physical and sensory symptoms due to the body converting that stress improperly with no underlying neurological or neurological pathology or medical issues in play.
What did I put for this one? For conversion. What to look for? Someone who's experiencing stress emotions or trauma can start to have physical and sensory problems such as paralysis. Experiencing so much stress.
So it says they can experience physical and sensory symptoms due to the body converting that stress improperly with no underlying neurological pathology or medical issue in play. These symptoms include paralysis, numbness, deafness, blindness, seizures.
Can you add this part, the AKA part? You don't have to put AKA, but like, is there a way to phrase it?
Raise notes, yeah.
The person, or if the person is experiencing. Yeah, you got it. You said we haven't verified you yet, sir. Whereas, like, it's a person, but it's like,
Hell no, that ain't a person. I would just disconnect with them. We. You should be like we. Who's we?
We. You speaking French now?
Fictitious disorder. An individual experiencing this is someone who deceives and tricks others by appearing sick, by purposely getting sick, or by self-injury. Family members or caregivers can even falsely present others, such as their children, as being ill, injured, or impaired. To put simply, the person is lying about their sickness, illness, or injury. And then I put vocabulary as malingering, psychiatry verb. Malingering is falsification or profound exaggeration of illness, physical or mental, to gain external benefits such as avoiding work or responsibility, seeking drugs, avoiding trial, law, seeking attention, avoiding military services, leave from school, paid leave from a job, among other things. Then we go into the feeding and eating disorders. You want to stop here? 58.
No, let's go to 60. I'm gonna just say this is the last one for this person, because it's like I'm like FaceTime. FaceTime. That'll do it. If you're real, right? FaceTime. That's what I want to say. All right.
If she used we, she's not real. Pika.
Pika. Eating those objects that aren't there. Or not edible
That
objects.
shit. This is where it gets weird. And rumination was my least favorite to learn about. But someone experiencing pica tries to eat things that aren't food, such as dirt, grass, wood, etc. Time frame. Behavior is present for 1 month or longer. Rumination disorder. Rumination disorder is the act of someone who is regurgitating their food, which means that they bring up their food they swallowed in their mouth and re-chew, re-swallow, and or just spit it out.
Did you see mine? Scroll up for my.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to read it again.
No. What was my? Because I put a note for that one. Rumination. Oh, where is it? Yeah, keep on now. Right there. What is it? Definition number 2. That's what it was. Rumination. Definition number 2 of this word means that the action of chewing something.
Yeah.
When you ruminate, it's like you're replaying something again. So in this context, someone is regurgitating their food, which means they bring out their food again. Yeah.
Ugh.
You think I should put this in there or not?
No, keep it out because it doesn't have anything to do with psychiatry.
What? That's all. It's all a DSM. No.
Anorexia nervosa. Someone who is suffering from anorexia nervosa is someone afraid of gaining weight. Due to this, they experience symptoms such as undereating, refusing to eat, distorting their body image. They may think that they are bigger than they actually are.
Having a distorted body.
Having a disorder. They may think that they are bigger than they actually are. This drives them to excessively exercise. People experiencing this can become very thin. A medical doctor, usually a physician, must be involved with their treatment and post-care. Patients experiencing this typically need a high volume of care and are usually treated in inpatient facilities.
Also, for people experiencing this can be. Okay, yeah, you got it. I thought it said may. No, that's not. Yeah, it can become very thin. Yep.
Bulimia nervosa is 2 factors need to be in play when diagnosing bulimia nervosa. These 2 factors are binge eating and then binge purging or vomiting after you eat and or drink. Binge eating disorder. This is when a person goes out of their way to eat an unhealthy amount of food regularly. And then elimination disorder.
Wait, scroll down for this one. Are you able to take out out of their way? Because it's more so like coping, not necessarily out of their way. to do something.
When a person eats an unhealthy amount of food.
Yeah, whatever. There. When a person only been yeah.
Eats an unhealthy amount of food regularly. Out of habit? Or food out of habit? Do you want to add something to it? Because that's all it is. This can,
Yeah.
or this can.
No, you're right. No, because I want to keep them like the certain ones like boom, 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 where it's like anorexia, bam, 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 bulimia, bam, binge eating, bam.
So that was 60.
Okay, let's wrap up. My head back.